Meeting will come to order. Ms. Gore, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Benjamin?
Present.
Ms. Conley?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Lamar?
Present.
Dr. Diop?
Present.
Mr. Benjamin, would you lead us in our pledge? And please remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Gore, do we have any citizens' comments? Okay, thank you, Ms. Gore. Is there a motion to approve the February 22nd, 2022 agenda?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Lamar, seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Reports. I have a very short report. Just want to talk to you a little bit about the board retreat that we're having next Tuesday at 4:30. I'm going to ask you to bring your iPads because we're going to do something online, if you would, and that would be terrific if you could get that to the meeting. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you our agenda so you'll know, and we will get it sent out to you. First on the agenda will be Mr. Mayo. He's going to talk to us about the West Tennessee Workforce Collaborative. And then, I'm sorry?
That's good.
Oh, yeah, it is good. Also, we're going to be discussing some acknowledging emails and text, review of parliamentary procedure, ethics for school board members, our school board evaluation results. We're going to see our strengths and our weaknesses like all people have. We're also going to do online our board member self-evaluation to make sure that our board members receive Career Ladder 3 this year. So we'll get that online and we'll get that done this year for sure. And then the last step, we're going to plan for the future and just need to talk about what we need to do to improve as a school board. And that will be what all that is on the agenda for Tuesday at 4:30. Any questions about that? Okay. Mr. Mayo, Superintendent's report.
Okay, y'all are going to be surprised tonight because I have a very short report. I have a few things, but not very long. I've sent you most of what I needed to share with you previously in some long emails. So you got your long email, but hopefully a shorter report tonight. First of all, I just want to acknowledge the back up here. I think I sent you a picture of that. Finally got our logo on the wall from our second logo. That's our third logo, but now I hope we're going to stick with that one. And so anyway, it looks really nice. We're also going to be adding out in the lobby something similar to that. When you walk in where the benches are, that big blank wall, we're going to add another kind of a color logo there. And it was ready, but it had some issues that the guy wanted to redo it, so he's going to redo it, and we appreciate him wanting to redo that before we had to ask him to redo it. So anyway, just want to point that out. You also notice around the room some banners. These are our top workplace banners that we got for being the #1 top workplace in the Memphis area.
Oh, yeah.
And we have one of these for each school and one for central office to be put on display in the schools. Last year, we did the hanging banners, and so this year we did something a little bit differently since we were the #1 top workplace. So see those around, and then those will go out to the schools next. We did send out our Q3 Celebration Luncheon sign-up yesterday. You all should have received that as well, and please feel free to pick a day and sign up. This is, we want to continue to celebrate our employees and acknowledge their hard work and what they're doing. So that information was out there, so you can feel free to sign up if you want to pick a day. I also want to congratulate Ms. Clara Earl, our nutrition coordinator, works under Ms. Roberts' department. they received our school-based nutrition managers as well, they received their latest inspections from the cafeterias, and DES had 100, AES 99, AMS 99, and AHS 99. So you can't get much better than that. So those ladies work hard to make sure that the services that are provided, nutrition, are top-notch. Also want to recognize Dr. Clark for the outstanding job that she and her team did with the career fair last week, pulling it together. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure we'll snag some of those applicants as some of our new employees from that event. But that's always a great event for all of you to come and participate if you're available. And it's just a good night to celebrate who we are as a school district. So I appreciate Dr. Clark for pulling all that together. We're also continuing to work through the budget process. Ms. Roberts assured me last Friday, I believe when we spoke last about budget specifically, that she was in a really good spot with the budget, so I'll take her word for that. And because I didn't know that I was, but she's in a really good spot. So I guess that's all that matters. If the CFO's in a good spot, then we're all in one. So anyway, we're continuing to work through some of those areas, and we've received a principal request. We have a meeting, I think, scheduled for tomorrow. Mr. Ruff, Ms. Roberts, and I are going to sit down and look at some CIP requests, CIP updates, see where all of that factors in, and how we put all that together before you have your one-on-one meetings a little bit later on, I think in April. So that's coming together. And I also just want to thank all of the departments, because everybody's working really hard right now on a lot of things. It's really busy right now, and it's only going to get busier with all the things that are going on toward the end of the school year. From, we're already having to plan summer learning camps and summer school and all kinds of activities, registration. There's just a number of big things going on right now that are continue to go on. And these folks in their departments are working very hard to make all of that happen. That concludes my report, believe it or not. So I'm going to ask Dr. Clark if she has any updates from Human Resources.
Good evening. Just to piggyback on what Mr. Mayo mentioned about the Arlington Community Schools Annual Career Fair, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you coming and being a part of that night. I know that these future hopeful teachers that we have that will join our A team, they are nervous when they come in. And so when they see board members that help engage, as well as the teacher leaders did a great job and giving them tips, and I heard all of you all giving them tips and try and make them feel at ease, that helps them so much. But also, as I go around at these different events recruiting, I brag about our board, our superintendent, the family atmosphere, the teachers, the support, because that seems to be a common question they have for me even today when I was at career fair is, what kind of support does your district have? I've been hearing it's a great district, but what kind of support do you have someone that's new to your district? And so I can truly attest to that and share with them that. So you have a little treat to show the appreciation of being part of that A team that night. Also, as Mr. Mayo shared with you, these banners recognizing us to be the #1 top workplace. These just came in this morning, and I'm getting ready to go on some more recruitment events at universities, Union and Ole Miss, and then I'll travel to the other end of the state and go to Knoxville and Tennessee Tech. And when I do, this will be part of many other things that I have. And this is a good little card that highlights the positive aspects of our district. Then the next item is on substitutes. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you supporting us financially through that. Last month we shared we were given that incentive stipend to substitutes on certain days of the week. That varies. So in January, our overall fill rate was 72%. And so this started right at February the 1st in this incentive stipend. So we went from 72%, and to date, 22nd, we're at 92%. So
Hello.
that has increased tremendously. We're getting all of our jobs filled. I even think substitutes are calling us wanting a job now. Okay, so you see the nods. So that completes my report tonight. We have positions posted. We have a great pool of applicants, and we'll continue gathering more as we are recruiting. Yes, sir.
I noticed 2 years in a row that you have used the word snag. We snag the employees. He used it tonight. He used it a year ago, so it must be working, whatever snag means, so it's working.
Snag, snag.
SNAG, he used it
grab.
tonight, and 1 year ago, he used the same verb.
You have any more questions, Mr. Lamar?
I don't have any.
Anyone else?
Okay, Mr. Go forward. Thank you, Dr. Clark.
Good evening. Just have a few updates. As Mr. Mayo mentioned, our summer learning camps are beginning. They'll be June 6th through June 30th. As you know, we're required by the state to have those. They will be for incoming first through incoming eighth graders. And the applications will go out today or this evening, need I say. And those are kids, priority kids. We look at their grades, their benchmark scores. We look at their RTI data, a whole arena of data to get kids into that camp. But that will be June 6th through the 30th. Also, just so you know, to put on your map, and this is this summer, we will have the inaugural Summer Summit PD event. It will be July the 12th. Our technology team is working on that. It will be for Arlington Community School teachers, and our presenters will be Arlington Community School teachers also. What this is all about is we have great folks in our district, so we want those folks to get out and shine and share all of their great knowledge and best practices they have. So it'll be July 12th this summer. It will be a full day for our teachers to attend an event to get flex hours as well as, best practices, learning strategies, that type of thing, July the 12th. And also, just so you know, tomorrow we will have Penny Thurman visit. She is the executive director of the Grand West for the Tennessee Department of Education. Wants to stop by and just see some of the great things going on. So we will make a stop at Arlington High School and at Donaldson Elementary School with the focus on early literacy and STEM, and that will be tomorrow. So that's all I have for academics. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Go forward. Ms. Douglas.
Good evening. I have just a few announcements. Mr. Goforth began to mention next school year, and so my department is also working on next school year. We're currently accepting applications for our non-residents for next school year. On February the 28th, we'll open up registration for all of our students for next school year, so that's a 2-week period where families will register online for next school year. Also, with our department, we're continuing to monitor our ESSER spending, and I know that's one of the topics you guys will address tonight, and it's simply that every 6 months we have to reevaluate our plan, make any updates, and then make sure we share them with the board and the public. And then also, we're getting ready for spring testing. It's that time of the year. Our juniors will take ACT next week. Our ELL students are currently taking their state-required test, which is WIDA. And then we're also meeting with our testing coordinators to start planning for TCAP. So that's everything that's happening in our department. Questions, comments?
Not a question, but a comment. I talked to Ms. Manley just a little while ago. A friend from work was entering into the non-resident transfer process, and she sent literally a 2-page complimentary email about how wonderful the process was, how seamless it was, how nice everybody was, and she can't wait to bring her kids to the district. So kudos to your department. I mean, she literally sat down and wrote 2 pages.
I appreciate that.
It was very nice.
And we try. Even the ones that get upset, we give them the best attention as well, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Mr. Ruff? Okay. And Ms. Speakman? No report. All right. Mr. Hill?
Good evening. So the first thing I want to talk about is movie night at the Jumbotron, something I hope you can all get excited about. We were going to try to do this during the Christmas season, and we had a movie lined up, and then they called us back and they yanked the license from us because the movie theater down the road was already showing Elf. So we weren't able to do it. So we're doing it on Friday, April the 8th at 7:30 p.m. That's going to be at the Arlington High School football stadium, of course. We're going to be showing Encanto, a very popular Disney movie going on right now. So we are gearing this more towards elementary families, but obviously it's going to be open up to the whole community. No registration necessarily, free of charge. There will be concessions. That's going to be by the Film Society Club, and so all donations, all concession money will go help fund that club at the high school. So I hope you're able to attend. Again, that's Friday, April 8th at 7:30.
Does that sit on the field in a chair, or is that sit in the stands and watch?
Thanks for asking. Yes, we're actually going to close off the stands. It's going to be on the field. So bring your lawn chairs, bring your blankets, that sort of thing.
Cool.
Yep. Any other questions about that? Okay.
What if it rains? Is there another date?
We do have a rain date. If it rains, we will move it to April 29th. That's that last Friday in April. Hoping for no rain, though. My next thing tonight to talk about is the strategic plan. Just want to let you know we've jumped right into the strategic planning process, and I think it's going really well. One thing that we really wanted to do this time is really expand the feedback gathering than we've done in the past. And so we've held already several sessions. We held 2 Arlington High School student listening sessions where we heard from more than 60 students about really what they want to see out of school, what they want to see out of their education, what skills and traits they think they need before they graduate. And so we got a lot of great feedback from those students. We also heard from Arlington Middle School, Miss Banks and her strategic team. They led a student listening session over there. And man, those 6th graders and 7th graders and 8th graders, they had a lot of things to say, and they had a lot of good feedback, a lot of great insight that really kind of mirrored their peers at the high school. So it was interesting to see that 6th graders were really talking about the same thing that some of our seniors were. So it was really nice hearing from them. Next week, I'm going to be working with the high school to host at least one alumni session as well. We had Arlington High School staff just give us a bunch of names of alumni that they've kept in contact with. We have some that have graduated in 2008. We have some that graduated last year that will be a part of it. So the reason why I say at least one, if we get enough to have 2 sessions, we're going to do that because we know that those who graduated in 2009 and 2010, their experience at Arlington High School looked a lot different from those who graduated in the past couple of years. So we want to make sure that we're getting good data from both data points. But hopefully by the end of the week, we'll know whether we're going to have 2 sessions or not. But that's going to be held on Zoom. And then we're also going to be sending out a parent survey because we obviously want to hear from parents. I will include you on that survey as well because we definitely want your input. And then we'll also send one out through the chamber office so we can solicit some feedback from our businesses to hear what they want out of the future workforce and what they believe students need to possess before they graduate from our high school. And beyond that, the last thing is just, I know Mr. Mayo talked about it on my behalf last time, but we are in the process of updating, redesigning our website. We're looking like that's going to launch at the end of May, early June. So we're in training like 6 of 50, I think. There's a lot of trainings. It's pretty intensive, but it's myself and then the webmasters from each school going through it, choosing the new design, choosing the new layout, what's going to go on the site. So it's a long process, but one I think will be worth it. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. And that concludes the superintendent's report. Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayo. Financial report, Ms. Roberts.
Good evening. The financial report as of December 2021, general fund revenues, $22,954,862. Expenditures, $19,806,747. Nutrition fund revenues, $1,221,085. Expenditures, $697,260. Federal and discretionary grants funds, revenues, $1,830,662. Expenditures, $1,822,782. CIP fund, revenues, $1,264,451. Expenditures, $1,674,083. Interlocal Health Benefits Plan Asset Trust Report as of December 2021. Year-to-date revenues, $21.9 million. Year-to-date expenses, $21.7 million. Beginning net position, $12.4 million. Ending net position, $12.5 million. And for the auditor's report, we'll have representatives from Watkins Uberall, Clark Province, and we have Alex Van Gilder, who will present the audit report.
Is that what this is? Okay, thank you. I will try to work with that as best I can. Good evening. I'm Clark Province. I'm a partner at Watkins Uberall. This is my third year to sign the report for Arlington Community Schools. This year we brought Alex Van Gilder with us. Alex is the manager on the account, and so she's actually doing the day-to-day stuff, talking to Miracle and Amy McDaniel, running the team, and then she comes to me basically for supervisory control, and again, I signed the report. We audited the June 30th, 2021 financial statements. Just a quick overview, we did issue an unmodified opinion, and for government audits, we actually issue multiple audit opinions. For Arlington, we have one for the overall governmental activities. So basically, we take any debt or any fixed assets that you have, add those together to come up with some really big numbers for your government-wide reporting. The General Purpose School Fund and the Capital Projects Fund are both major funds, so we issue separate opinions on those. The General Purpose School Fund budgetary schedule also gets a separate opinion on it. The OPEB fund gets its own opinion, and then everything else is called the aggregate remaining fund information. We issue a final opinion on it in the aggregate. So again, you had unmodified or clean opinions on all of those opinion units. Just to note, we don't audit the MD&A, the required supplementary information, or some of the other information. We don't issue an opinion on it. We do what's called an in relation to opinion on it. It's just a lower level of attestation. And then we do a compliance audit for you as well over your major federal award programs. Child nutrition was once again audited this year. It's normally one of your major programs we have to look at. This year, we also audited your ESSER funds, the new money that you got in. So we had to do a separate audit on it. I will point out that they also got clean opinions. There were no compliance findings this year. There were no material weaknesses or deficiencies in your internal controls. So very clean work this year. Just to restate as well, we prepared the financial statements for you, but at the end of the day, it is management's responsibility. So I help them put together the numbers, and I help them get it technically correct for GAAP, but at the end of the day, the numbers come from them, and we check them to make sure they're all right. Let's see. So just to tell you once again how we express an opinion, we perform procedures which are scoped, is what we say. We base everything on materiality. We don't test anything 100%. We test a lot of your stuff 100%. A lot of your revenues get tested 100%. But we do this by testing, by asking a lot of questions and looking into the questions for supporting documentation, just to give you an idea of what an audit is. An audit's not fraud procedures. That's something different. That's been brought up a lot with school boards lately, or fraud audits. These are two separate things. I just want to point that out to you. And again, we're opining on everything being materially correct in all material respects, okay? So it's not 100% assurance on any of this. We have a very, very strict level of guidelines, And then in governmental auditing, it's a separate, even higher level of guidelines we have to follow. So this is like the highest level of general auditing you can get. Financial statement highlights for the year. Governmental activities, so would include your fixed assets and your debt. You have $22.4 million in unrestricted funds to meet ongoing obligations. You can spend it how you want to spend it. That's really, really good. I have a percentage on the next tab that I'll go over. $7 million is restricted for pensions, for capital projects that you've already entered into contracts for, and then student activities. So that was a big change this year. All the student activity funds have come into the government now, into the school. So there's $1.2 million student activity funds that are now associated with the school itself. That was an accounting standards change we had this year. The state made us do it. Even though there's a lot of disagreement between the auditors and the state made us do it. So I'll point that out. Your program revenues were roughly flat for the year at about $7.5 million. Your general revenues, though, increased about $4.2 million to $48 million. The majority of that increase is going to come from the increase in grant funding that you got, okay? Oh, sorry. Your expenses also increased about $4 million. Those two numbers look alike because it's related to the grant funding. For your general purpose school fund, you had an increase of about $3.5 million to $25 million. Again, $25 million of that is unassigned, which means you can spend it how you need to. That's about 56.7% of your general expenditures. That's really, really strong, really strong. Y'all may be the most well-funded school that I have that I audit. Out of everybody in the entire district, Shelby County, everybody. Y'all are very well-funded. And I tell Miracle this all the time. It's like, where did y'all get all this cash from? Like, y'all are doing very well managing your expenses. Your revenues increased $2.8 million, primarily related to some, this is just for the general purpose school fund, sorry, primarily related to some increases in state revenues and your increases in taxes and intergovernmental revenues. And then your expenses increase in your general purpose school fund about $817,000. About 74% of that's going to be your instruction and instruction support, which is what you would expect. The big notes that I want to point out are your pensions and your Opebs. So cumulative, you have a net pension asset of about $4.8 million. That's a decrease from last year of $1.4 million. On the other side of that, your Opeb, you have a liability of your Opeb. It decreased, your liability decreased about $1.4 million to a $4.1 million liability. So those things are different. What you need to know is your pension is, for the most part, all except one, are fully funded. It flipped over this year due to some changes in the market. You are fully funding your pensions as required by state law. So that's important because they could come after your money if you didn't do that. They come after your state sales tax. Your OPEB is different. Y'all are currently on what's called a pay-go plan. So any current year expenses you're paying out of your general fund, and then you're pre-funding the liability. You're not quite hitting your actuarially determined contribution rate. I've listed the last 3 years up here. And then if you look in the actual audit report on page 63, we cover the last 10 years. It's a schedule that shows 10 years worth of, here's how much the actuary said we should be contributing, here's how much we're actually contributing. Y'all have all the means in the world to contribute this fully if you wanted to, and you're nearly hitting it. But again, this liability is going to fluctuate every single year for always, because that's just the nature of these long-term liabilities. They can go up and down like crazy. But you're not in a bad spot at all. Your pension's in a really good spot. Your OPEB's slowly trickling down. It's not in a bad spot at all. You're doing what you need to be doing, essentially. Let's see. As a part of your audit, we also look at the internal controls over your major programs. We do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of your internal controls. I just want to point that out. And again, we didn't report any deficiencies in your internal controls, and we didn't report any compliance-related matters. So that's really good. And then if you have any questions, I can answer that, or I've left my email address on here. So if you ever feel the need to email me or ask me anything, I can also respond to that. But thank you for letting us come out again. Anything else?
Thank you.
Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say that was impressive.
I would think so. Somebody's doing a good job. I know, right?
I didn't understand the decrease.
I guess we'll move on.
4 million to
TLN report.
No report.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Viak, seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. All right, we are ready, I guess, for our business and action items. Mr. Mayo?
Okay. So the first, the only miscellaneous budget item is Resolution 2022-04 of the ACS Board of Education, amending the 2021-2022 schools budget. It is my recommendation that you approve this. This is, again, our monthly transfers between accounts that does not require town approval because it's not changing the overall value of our budget. It's just moving money around for various reasons. A couple of those items I sent to you previously in my email, and then the rest of those are things such as for, balancing payroll, or if we hire somebody new and we have to move money to pay benefits, but we move all of that within so that we're not having to get, a new budget approval process, basically. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve Resolution 2022-04 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education, amending the 2021-2022 schools budget.
All right, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
It has been moved by Mr. Lamar and seconded by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. Next item.
Okay, here it is. Okay, we're there now. Okay, the next item has to do with the summer school tuition. That resolution is basically setting the, is that right? Am I on the right one?
You're on the right one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Proposing the tuition rate, and you can see there that rate in your resolution is $300 for Arlington Middle School, 8th grade only, $200 for half credit, and $400 for 1 credit at the high school. So that's basically what that is for. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve Resolution 2022-05 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education, proposing the 2022 summer school tuition.
So
All right.
moved.
All right, all right, we have a motion from Dr. Viaks,
Second.
second by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried.
Okay, the next item is our fee schedule, our monthly fee schedule. And as you flip through there, you can see those are things that are coming up from, it looks like, mainly the high school, I believe, on this month's resolution. So some different field trips and opportunities for students. So with that, it is my recommendation that you approve Resolution 2022-06 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education, amending the 2021-2022 schools fee schedule.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. Viaks,
Second.
second by Mr. Lamar. All those in favor, any discussion, excuse me? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Next item.
Okay, the next item is a motion to approve, or my recommendation for you to approve the renewal of special course applications for Arlington High School. And basically what that is from time to time, we offer courses that require us to renew that permission to continue to be able to offer those courses, and we're up for that on 2 or 3 of these courses. So with that, it is my recommendation that you approve the renewal of special course applications for Arlington High School.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
All right, well, it's so moved by Mr. Lamar and seconded by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
Okay, this one will take me a little bit longer, because this is the instructional calendar for 2023-2024. And so I'll make the recommendation that you approve the proposed 2023-2024 instructional calendar as presented, and then I'll be happy to go through that process, or I can do it backwards, whichever way you're most comfortable with. I can explain the process, and then you can.
The process of how you got there?
Yes.
To this
Yeah, I'm
calendar?
fine with,
I mean, you kind of shared that with us already.
I have.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I mean, I
let's
don't
just go-
personally need that
no, let's
tonight.
just get it on the floor and we'll.
Motion to approve?
All right, Dr. Viance, and seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any discussion? All right, do you want to go into some more detail before we vote?
I would like to give you a little explanation of it. I have tried to keep you in the loop, and I think when we first started this process, I told you that the Superintendent's Leadership Roundtable is served as calendar committee for this again this year. We started with 4 calendars. They hacked that down to 2 pretty quickly. And so of those 2 calendars, they went back and surveyed their teachers to get feedback and staff to see if there need to be any tweaks made to those calendars. We didn't really make any tweaks. We had some suggestions, a couple of things we looked at, but looking at the big picture, we weren't able to accommodate, another day off without adding another day and coming back after Memorial Day, which is a cardinal sin, we know. And so we couldn't do any of those things that were suggested. And we didn't get a lot of suggestions, honestly. But, so then we put this calendar A option and calendar B, and I sent you all a link to that survey as well. And it went out to parents, employees, and so in the big picture, the survey results, we had 932 participants, 62.96% voted for option A, and 37.04% voted for option B. And that followed suit through the different subgroups. Like for teachers, we had 206 teachers that voted for the calendar. 65.53% voted for option A, 34.4% voted for option B. Support staff, we had 74 participants. 61.64% voted for option A, 38.36% for option B. Administrators, we had 19 administrators to participate. 73.68% of them voted for option A and 26.32% for option B. Parents, that was our largest participation group, 655 participants, and 62.4% voted for the option A, and 37.5% voted for option B. So there were no outliers. It was all the way down. Overall, in every group, selected the option A calendar. And basically the difference between those 2 calendars is option A, we get out a little bit sooner for Christmas break than we do with option B. Option B kind of takes you all the way up through Friday, and then I think Christmas Day may be like Sunday or Monday.
Yeah,
and so people kind of wanted that end exams on Wednesday, and then you got your Thursday, Friday, then you got a little bit of time on the front end. And then we come back a little bit later because of that too. Or we come back a little bit earlier, but it's kind of a midweek start. The students come back, I think, on a Thursday on option A, and then on the other one, they're not going to come back till like January the 8th, which is a Monday, which most people add the sentiment that they'd rather have their time on the front end because New Year's isn't really that big of a deal too on the backside. So that's sort of the rationale. The calendars were very similar with those couple of differences. Because as I've shared before, when we do the 175 flex calendar, there's just not a lot of options that you can do when you're already taking 5 days out that you're using for PD to give teachers that flex option. And teachers almost unilaterally want that. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve the 2023-2024 instructional calendar as presented.
Is there any more questions? If not, we'll go ahead and vote.
Is our snow days about the same?
Snow days will be 8. Inclement weather days, we have 8 every year.
So that's about the same.
Yeah, we used to have 13 when we did a 1 to 80 day, but now that we do a 175, we have 8. And right now, we've got 5 days left for 3 schools, and we've got 1 day left for 1 school. So we're hoping we don't get any more bad weather. Otherwise, we'll have to explore those other options for that 1 school.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried.
Okay. So the next item is something that Ms. Douglas alluded to earlier, and that's the update of the ESSER document, Safe Return to School Addendum. You probably remember doing this last year. This document is, I'm sure it's for auditing purposes that they do this, because the ESSER money is moving constantly through revisions and changes and things of that nature. So it's constantly needing audits. And, I'll go to Ms. Douglas and sometimes and say, hey, when we did the substitute incentive, we paid some of that. So we're all the time having ideas of ways that we can, improve or use ESSER for that. So with that, it's my recommendation that you approve the updated ESSER documents, Safe Return to School Addendum, and Public Plan for Federal Relief Spending Addendum.
So moved. Second.
All right, it's been moved by Dr. Viax and seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Is there any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. Any other? That's it? Oh,
Thank you for the card. It's a soldier. Love it.
oh. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Lamar, so moved. Second by Ms. Conley. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. This meeting is adjourned.